The Foundry, old, gray, and metal to the core.
Hey, welcome to the newest episode of The Foundry, old, gray, and metal to the core. I'm Bruce.
And I am Nick Edinger, and former vocalist for Possession and current vocalist for Frost Like Ashes. And we do a little different review show. Each of us pick a metal release to review each month, and then one of us gets to pick something that is non-metal. And we both listen to that and give our opinion on it. So if you like this, please like and subscribe and share the review show. And also, comment down below and let us know about albums that you think we should look into, whether they're metal or not, and give us your opinion on the albums we review this time. So you get to go first, Bruce. You gave me something that was quite interesting. You said I'd love it. I'll wait and let you know.
And that's what I think. That's what I think we said early on. We don't have to agree with everything, and that's the whole beauty of the show. So I grew up in the 80s as you did, but I was more enamored with the whole hair metal scene and the glam scene, and spent quite a bit of time out there. I'm gonna just throw this out there. Probably my favorite band of all time is the Faster Pussycat. I know you're gonna cringe when I say that.
Yeah, that was not my favorite.
Oh my goodness, still to this day. But at any rate, so you could see where my roots are and where my influences are. So when I got to pick, I didn't pick this one in the last couple because I've been listening to some good bangers, and there are a lot of good bangers out there. But Street Lethal by Crazy Lixx just blew my mind. I love this kind of stuff.
Yeah. What were the things that you liked the most about this album?
Well, I mean, I guess it's the same about all that whole 80s genre. The hooks, the melodies, the big choruses, I hate to say it because it's really cliche, but that whole LA sleazy sort of hair glammy thing, which resonates so well with me.
Didn't recognize the band name. And obviously, when you have a band called Crazy Lixx and it's spelled with 2 X's at the end,
right.
Yeah, you have an idea in your head of what it's going to be. And so I started listening to it, and with the first song, and well, there's like a little intro before that. It was not at all what I expected. Now, then when I get to the second song, I realized that I actually watched the video for that song just a couple months ago, or whenever it first came out.
Yeah, I think like November.
Yeah, so right when it came out, I listened to that song, and so then I was like, oh, I actually do know this band. But you talk about like the LA sleazy metal sort of scene, and so the tale of two halves, like when you have a cassette tape back in the day where you would listen to one side and then have to flip it over and listen to the second half of the album.
Yeah,
that's how this felt to me. This first half feels like a European power metal band from Switzerland or something,
right?
Or hard rock, not necessarily power metal, like a European hard rock band. That's the feel of it. The vocal lines, the choruses, the big gang vocal choruses that they have, and do not let yourself think that this is real basic musically. It's not. These guys can play. It is unbelievable, and they put together complex and interesting songs. It wasn't until you get to Caught Between the Rock and Roll that I get back to the LA sleazy feel of it. Like from there on to the end of the album, then it's what I was expecting. But the first half, or a little bit more than half of the album, it was something that I actually really, really enjoyed and would listen to, and I actually have listened to quite a bit since you gave it to me. It does bring back all of those sounds, but it doesn't sound old.
No, it's very well produced.
New. Yeah, it's put together very well. Man, there's several that stuck in my head, and I found myself singing throughout the day, or humming the tune for sure.
So before we get to that, the one thing I will have to say that I didn't like about the 80s was the ballads. And so don't get the wrong idea either. This is not an album with a hair metal ballad, because I didn't see, tempos change for sure, but I don't see anything, like lighter worthy at all, which is a plus for me. Go ahead with your favorites.
All of my favorites are from the first half of the album. Rise Above, The Power, and Reach Out. Those three really stood out. There are two instrumental pieces. The very, very first track, Enter the Dojo, or Dojo, I'm not sure how that's pronounced. And then Final Fury leads into Street Lethal, which is the title track. Street Lethal, honestly, isn't bad either, but I try to limit my picks to three.
Right.
And so those first ones, I could see those being played at any European festival, and having 100,000 people singing along to all of them.
All right, so I've got two highlighted that I would pick. I'm just curious if the vibe is on today and the wavelengths are right. What do you think I'm picking?
Well, what you're picking? Oh boy, I bet you did pick Street Lethal.
I did.
And then And then I would say Caught Between the Rock and Roll would be the other one. That's my guess.
So Caught Between Rock and Roll is 3. I really liked One Fire.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
One Fire, One Goal. Wow. Yeah, that one is kind of a mix between the two things that are going on in this album, which probably was why I didn't pick it, because it wasn't really solid in either camp. But yeah, I could definitely see that.
So those are my top 3, and I know it's been out since November. I like it. It's high energy. You don't really have to think about it. It's like you said, though, they're not terrible players. They play really, really well, and it's really, really put together, but it just harkens back to something that I think is more fun, more distraction, more entertainment, which maybe we all need at the moment anyway. So that's kind of cool, and maybe that's why it's on my playlist a lot more now, because I really don't have to think about it. I can just let them play, and it's awesome.
Yeah, I had a hard time doing other things while I was listening to the first half because I wanted to sing along.
Right.
But and maybe raise my fist and bang my head a little bit.
Yes.
But the guitar solos, fantastic. This is not a lightweight.
No, not at all.
Yeah, they've got to be mentioned up with the top bands of this genre. They really need to be.
All right, so we're going to shift totally around the world into a totally different style here. Why don't you go ahead and introduce this one?
Well, I picked Korpiklaani, and I've liked them since the very first album, and they've progressed so much. I failed once again to go to Google Translate and figure out how to say the names of any of these songs.
Oh, yeah, but,
I know. The album title, I don't know how to say it. I'm guessing it's Jylhä or Jylhä,
I would go with that.
So, but give me your thoughts. What did you? You obviously are a fan of these guys as well, on a much more personal level than I am. I've
done a few things with Jan over the years, and he was actually in both of my cookbooks back 10 years ago, and he's done some episodes for the show, and I've been on the boat 70,000 tons with him, and my wife and I have had dinner with them a bunch of times, and just really, really nice guys. Yeah. So when you brought this one up, I really had no idea this would even be in your wheelhouse. That's how much we still don't know about each other. But I've been a fan of them since maybe not from the beginning, but Tales Along This Road. Is that what year was that record?
Yeah, they have progressed so much. I think that a lot of people probably initially started listening because it was almost shtick,
Right.
Like, what in the world are these guys doing? People have been incorporating Scandinavian folk music
right.
Into metal for a while. but these guys were coming out with all like way more into the folk side of things. And this album, oh my word, it's just killer from the very first song to the end, and it doesn't sound the same. They don't have like a specific sound that every single song fits into.
Right.
I don't know what do you think about that part of it?
I think it's cool and it makes it more interesting. And you're right. I mean, it doesn't fit into because you've got a lot of more tempo changes and I don't know what the word is. I guess tempo changes and feels and vibes. It changes back, like you said, the in and out. But I think as cohesively, I think it's really good. I think they do a really good job of keeping you interested because you can listen to the whole record, right? At a shot.
Mm-hmm.
I just put it on and listen. It's not one of those ones you can hit pause later on. I think it needs to be taken in. And then you experience what you're saying, the ebbs and flows of the way it's sequenced.
Yeah. One song could be very, very folky. And then the next song could almost be poppy. And then you got like a full-on metal song. And then you got anthems. You have sing-alongs.
And then you got that voice, which is so...
I believe.
I know there's a name for whatever he's doing, that traditional low range, low register sort of thing, but it's amazing. And it works.
Yeah, he has become an incredible vocalist. But
yeah, and then
so
for those not familiar, if you follow along this way, I mean, we've got violins, we've got fiddles, we've got accordions, we've got all kinds of stuff, traditional drums, as well as drummer.
Yeah, it changes up from song to song. I mean, there's like fiddle solos, accordion solos,
right?
And it's still metal. It's just so amazing.
And I wonder how much of this record, or the last two even, are different because of the new drummer. Because
you think that expanded their abilities?
It might have it. Because I was watching some videos the other day, and I think he plays a whole lot different than Matthias, I think his name was, but I think he plays a whole lot different than him too. So maybe that's, changing the vibe as well. And well, I mean, obviously it changes the vibe, but maybe that's the difference.
Yeah, it definitely could be. Because sometimes you're limited to what, not necessarily how good your drummer is, but just the way he plays or the style that he plays in. If he's not super diverse and can change up a lot.
Right.
So this guy can do that for sure.
Sweet. So favorites?
My favorites, and like I said, I have no idea how to pronounce these, but the first track, Vera Koira.
So I've got a translator in front of me. So that is called Bloodhound in English. Okay.
And then, which makes perfect sense. Then Levauta.
Oh, that's the one I don't have. I like that one as well, but I don't have a translation for that one. Sorry.
Track 3. That's track 3. And then Sanatan Ma, which is track 6.
Yep. Speechless Land is what it translates to English.
Yeah. So those are my 3. It was really difficult to narrow it down to 3.
Yeah.
Really, really hard. My top pick is the Levauta.
Okay, yeah, so that's in my top 2 as well. I really liked Poha, number 9, the bottom. Yep. I guess that's what it translates to, the bottom.
Okay.
And maybe Speechless Land, that's Sanatan Ma, whatever, the one you were talking about, number 6. See, I tried it. I'm going to get shot for saying it. That's my horrible New York accent trying to pronounce Finnish. But yeah, I think those are my favorites. And I mean, this is a really good album, start to finish. So now let's bring us to your non-metal pick.
Yes. So I picked a band named Dirt Poor Robins. And I'm not really sure how to categorize them. I mean, they're clearly a progressive rock band, but it has a very theatrical vibe to it. Like not not theatrical in the subject matter or the way they present that, but theatrical in it actually could be part like theater songs or songs you would hear in like a stage presentation, that sort of thing. Film, maybe a lot of film. There's some big band aspects to it. Some old 20s swing, a lot of swing aspects to it.
Even a little bit of Americana, perhaps.
Oh yeah, definitely. And it's solidly rock. Even those swing songs that are pretty much almost completely swing songs have a rock feel to them, just the way they're recorded and the way they're played.
So the one thing I noticed, and I'm sure it was intentional, but it's not as glossy or overproduced as I would have thought, or like I hear a lot of that stuff.
It's not this well polished package put all together. It feels very real, very
organic.
Yeah, that's a great word for it. And yet there are a lot of things going on within these songs, musically, instrumentally, and the arrangements are not traditional rock, or even it's not even traditional progressive rock because it's because of its theatrical aspects to it. Broadway musicals actually come to mind. There's a lot of tracks that have KP remix at the end of them, so that kind of led me to believe, why would they be remixing something on a new album? So Anthem to the Edge of the Earth is the name of the album, and Anthem to the Edge of the Earth is the only new track on the album. What stood out to you about this album, and what picks did you have from this?
Interest. My thoughts on Anthem to the Edge, when you sent it to me, I was kind of thrown off. I didn't expect that from you as well, so I think we're good at still surprising each other. But after a few listens, I think I emailed you or messaged you while I was listening to it at work one night. I was like, oh man, there is something to this. And maybe if you don't get it on the first chance, listen to it again, because when I did, I started picking up the things that you were talking about, you know, the different influences and the different genre blending, if you will, or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I think like I mentioned earlier, the rawness, you can connect with it a lot more, for at least this style of music.
Yeah, absolutely. There is this interesting thing that they do where the music is a little bit lighthearted almost, or fun, or you think, oh, this is danceable. I'm not a dancer, but if I were, maybe this would be something to dance to. And then the subject matter is super, super heavy or dark.
Right.
It's just a weird juxtaposition. You're almost like, should I really be feeling so good about listening to this song
right.
with the subject matter that's going on, you know?
So if you ask me what's my favorites, then Anthem to the Edge, mainly because that was the first single I got and it took me a while to get in, so it's sort of ingrained in my head. And it does. Yeah. I mean, I can hum parts of it along and really get with it. But I also liked Furthest Star. Oh,
yes. That's not in my top picks, but it's definitely a great song. And that's a love song, really.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's pretty deep. Their songs are not surfacey. They are deep. They take some thinking, and that song is amongst the top of that.
And I think that's probably why when I said maybe, you know, if you're listening to this and you made it this far, give them a chance, because when I went back and really paid attention to what I was listening to on the second or third one, I was like, oh man, there really is something here.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, Anthem, Furthest Star was your top pick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Anthem to the Edge of the Earth was in my list. Great Vacation. Once again, a very upbeat song, but basically talking about the end of the world. So there you go. Right. Leviathan is a great one. Maximilian von Spee is actually just a history story. but very, very upbeat. Great way to learn history. But Never a Key is really powerful. And then the last one, I Shot a Man. If you didn't get through the whole album, I would skip ahead and check out I Shot a Man.
Okay.
It's very short, but it's amazing. But my top pick is Great Vacation, just because it's so fun in the juxtaposition of what they're singing about and how it sounds
and it's remixed too. So I hope people listening, if they care, take a second and go check out some of these bands, because I think all three were pretty great this week.
Yeah, they definitely were. So,
and we're all over the spectrum again, right? We're Finnish folk metal and Swedish glam metal.
Yeah, absolutely. And then whatever the heck their
whatever this Americana thing is, but it works and it's great. So anyway, I want to thank anybody for making it this far. Again, like Nick said earlier, please like us, subscribe, tell us if you hate us, tell us what we're doing wrong, or even better, suggest something that we don't know about, because I want to learn. I don't only want to teach you, I want to get some more stuff in my arsenal, and this is a great way to do it by doing this Anthems, The Edge of the Earth.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much stuff out there right now that, and it's such good quality, a lot of bands. But I hope that we can bring a little more awareness to a lot of people of different bands, so that you're not just so overwhelmed. You have something to go on when you select a band, and give you a little bit of information about it. But just like every episode, it's great fun chatting with you, and love sharing all this music.